Auth66. The last couple weekends I've read passages of poetry. Today, maybe because I'm feeling sick and because I want to indulge myself, I'm going to flip to something that I absolutely love. Anybody who might have talked to me for more than 20 minutes might know just how insane I am about Harry Potter. Big fan. Probably a little bit of a ridiculous fan. But in any case, today I was thinking about, after the conference, something that somebody had said to me about leadership. And sorry, there's a passage from the final book that I've always loved, and I'll read it and then I'll talk about it. So this is the scene in King's Cross. I guess this is a spoiler alert, but I mean, if you haven't read it by now, then that sucks to be you. Spoiler alert, this is the King's Cross scene where Harry and Dumbledore are talking in the very end, when I think it must be like the soul that's talking. Meanwhile, was offered the post for Minister for Magic not once but several times. Naturally, I refused. I had learned that I was not to be trusted with power. But you'd have been better, much better than Fudge or Scrimgeour, burst out Harry. Would I? Asked Dumbledore heavily. I'm not so sure. I had proven as a very young man that power was my weakness and my temptation. It is a curious thing, Harry, but perhaps those who are best suited to power are those who have never sought it. Those who, like you, have leadership thrust upon them and take up the mantle because they must, and find to their own surprise that they wear it well. I think about, what that term means, leadership. In the case of Harry Potter, it was someone to vanquish Voldemort, someone to go out there and carry forward the cause, keep working at it diligently. And often in businesses, it's the person that helps the people around them. There's a lot of books and podcasts and things that are dedicated to helping somebody cultivate their leadership skills. But I don't know if we talk about enough, to me anyway, what it means to have natural leadership skills, like the things that kind of identify someone as that without you even having to ask, without them even realizing sometimes. I think for me, it's when somebody cares enough about the end result to bring their whole self to it, but not only just for themselves and their own marker, but the people around them. They feel that sense of accountability. And I think it's about, kind of what the passage says, not necessarily seeking out the power, not looking at how you can better things for yourself or set yourself up for the most success. It's about the greater good, whether that be a community, whether that be a business, whether that be the people, whatever that might be. It's all about the greater good. And that means that you're able to set aside your own motivations and your own agenda to be able to be objective and unbiased and say, okay, I would really love this, but it doesn't mean that that's what aligns for what the greater good is of everybody else. And why I wanted to talk about it is because there's a lot of times where people are in leadership positions where they may not be working from that, most genuine place. I think there's always an element of chess to leadership, where we say like moves and counter moves, where you move things around and whatever. But the goal, the winning of the game, is not in, you actually winning. It's in the business winning, or in an objective that the entire group wants to achieve winning. And I think that's the difference. A chess player that plays for their own score will do things in the game in order to stack things up for themselves. Whereas a chess player, who plays for the greater good, will be thinking about all the pieces and what they want to be left with in the end. And I think it's really important for those of us who are in leadership positions to recognize the people in our team that do that innately, and that who do that for the people around them. Because when we think about what we want next, there's like a common trope that you get promoted to your level of incompetence. I think we should be promoting more from your level of skill that has been demonstrated. And if leadership is something that, we want to be having somebody in who demonstrates those skills that I was talking about, that ability to go beyond themselves, we need to look at that part. And I think, and I'm sorry to do this again, it's like the second time in my Auth66 where I do this, to make it political. And that's something very easily demonstrable from politicians that, gamify the system in order to get in power and set things up for themselves, which is, let's be honest, no matter which way you vote, is pretty much the way it's been for the last at least 25 or so years, are something that you can usually see. Whereas if somebody's in there genuinely to help the greater good, you can usually see it by their actions when they get in office. I think look inside your own organization and identify people long before they're ready that are willing to look at what's important for the whole. I don't need people to sacrifice themselves. I'm not looking for martyrs, but I think that that's a very rare characteristic. And if we want to be growing the leaders of tomorrow, that's important. I mean, it's important if Dumbledore said it, so we should always pay attention to the things in Harry Potter. Look for the people that aren't looking for power, but look for the people that are looking to help and who, will take on leadership positions if there's no one else to do it, or if someone needs to step up, because that's the sign of doing it for the right reason versus just for their own gain. See y'all tomorrow.